Will I be at Providence College forever? Absolutely. Absolutely.
If you get that type of attention and that type of love, why would you run from it? He was the epitome of Providence up until the last 6 to 8 weeks.
Ed Cooley! Ed Cooley!
And it is divine providence that I'm here. It's just meant to be.
Just a big middle finger to PC fans. Like, that was, divine providence. Like, really?
Who run shit like me? Top 5 basically. I still play for keeps. Ain't no fantasy, hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Divine Providence. This is Season 2, Episode 15. It is officially Ed Cooley Hate Week. We did have a game against Marquette. There isn't much to say about it. We will talk a little bit about it, but it was a disaster. Mac, how are you feeling on this somewhat dark day in Friartown?
Yeah, Monday night against Marquette was, once again, House of Horrors, but I think it was a microcosm of how this entire season's gone. It's everything we've been talking about for months now. The defense, the turnovers, the late game mismanagement, everything. But we got the fourth Saturday in January coming up, so at least something to look forward to as a fan.
Yeah, I'm at a loss for words after that Marquette game. Infuriating. I can't even think of the words to describe. It's, you come back down to attention to detail, fundamentals, preparedness for certain situations, late game situations, how you come out in overtime. It's just really been the same song and dance this whole season, and you hope for change. And unfortunately, we are just not seeing it. And as we are all huge fans, and the people who listen are huge fans. It's just a real tough pill to swallow. There's really no other way to put it.
Definitely. And if you're listening at this point in the season, right, this is the second year in a row that we've came to you in relatively a lost season by, Ed Cooley Hate Week, which is the last Saturday in January or whatever, second to last. This is the last. It'll be the last Saturday in January, right? January 24th. Yeah.
I think the last.
Yeah. And, if you are here and you're listening and you're, still with the team, obviously we really appreciate that. A lot of gratitude to all the fans of the show and the fans of the Friars. This is a tough time. It's okay to be very upset at the team. It's okay to be very disenchanted with the team. Obviously I think the temperatures are very high right now. People are very, very upset. We're not asking people to not be upset. I think some of the things obviously said about wishing death on players, I think that's a little bit, crazy. I don't agree with that. I don't support that. And everyone knows me. I don't like to tiptoe around things. I'll say whatever. I like to make jokes, but if you're wishing death on players or the coach, you probably should take a look in the mirror and take a little bit of a step back. But brutal game last night. Not much else for me to say about it, really.
Yeah, I mean, kind of just echoing what Leb said, like to the people that are still listening at this point in the season, I think we can all agree it's a little bit of a lost season, but fandom isn't meant to be miserable. You know what I mean? I think on this show we've done a good job of telling it how it is to an extent, and still having some fun, keeping the vibes high, and that's at the end of the day, that's what being a sports fan's all about. Obviously, you want to see the wins. I will kill for a win. I think I'd sacrifice 3 of my toes for, a successful season right now. But, shout out to the people that are still listening. Let's just try and keep the vibes high.
Nobody said it was going to be easy, right? I mean, but sometimes you take a step back these last few years and you're like, I didn't think it was going to be this hard to rattle off a few wins.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of head scratching, frustrating play. And really the story of the season, I had a tweet earlier. It's a crazy stat. PC ranks 15th in the country in scoring 89.7 points per game. They are one of the best scoring teams in all of America. And then they are on the complete opposite side of the ball in scoring defense. They rank 355 out of 361 teams in the whole country, allowing 86.3 points per game.
Mhm.
And that's a story of the season. That's the story of the season right there, guys. There's really not much else to say about it. They can score at will, but they can't stop a cold. I mean, it's hard to watch, and you just want to string a couple stops together, and it's just not happening.
Yeah, and you can survive bad defense, but what you can't survive is bad defense and terrible mismanagement and malpractice in the closing minutes of a close game. You simply just can't have both of those things. Also, this defense isn't just bad. This is ultimately going to go down as one of the worst defenses in the history of the Big East. Like, this is unbelievably bad. So when you look at everything, obviously it's so hard to be excited and tune in every game. But ultimately, like, this is totally optional, So if you are stressed out, if it's killing you, turn the TV off. Put on South Park, whatever. Just take care of yourself in these difficult times and don't die.
Yeah, not dying is usually a pretty solid strategy, and if the Friars are causing that, maybe just take a couple steps back for a little while. You guys talked about the mismanagement late in games. The Friars are, here's a stat for you: 0-4 in overtime games this season.
Mm-hmm.
3 of those games, the Friars held a lead with 13 or less seconds to go in regulation. So not only are you getting to overtime against, albeit like a Butler team, Marquette team, a Virginia Tech team that like not all that impressive this season, but you're not forcing overtime. You are allowing overtime to be forced on you.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the frustration. It'd be one thing if we were down double digits. The UConn game, great example. If the roles were reversed, I'm happy if we force overtime. And like if we lose, whatever. You forced overtime, you came back, you showed a little fight. You're allowing these teams to get back into the games late. And it's painful. It's malpractice late in games. It's minor things that can be changed and tweaked, and it's frustrating. It's beyond frustrating.
What did I say? They can't stop a cold. I think I messed that up. I think the phrase is you can't catch a cold, and that's not what I was getting for. You can't stop
Runny nose.
Yeah, you can't stop a runny nose. Okay, and that's what's happening. It's like this team, like I said, they're gonna go down and score, and you just want a stop, and you just know it's probably not gonna happen.
Yeah,
which makes you scratch your head about, well, what are we working on all week? Because like I've said this before, you have freak athletes that are fast, they're laterally quick, they can get to the ball, they can get to the open man, but the breakdowns, they just keep happening. Is that mental mistakes on the players? Is that, you're not getting the guys prepared with the coaching staff? I don't know where to point fingers, and I hate doing that to the team that I love here, but it's like week after week, you're just banging your head against the wall. Like, come on, string a couple together here.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like we've talked about it, it's talent. It's clear as day. You can see individual performances. Even on the defensive end, like we have some very good on-ball defenders. But like you've seen Stephon Vox look like an NBA guy. Jameer Jones look like an NBA guy. Jason Edwards put on the Superman cape. Jalen Sellers put on the Superman cape. You've seen Duncan Powell get hot for 5-minute stretches and just look like the best shooter in the Big East out of nowhere. Like the talent's there. Mm-hmm. And that's what's so frustrating is what else could it fall on if all the talent is here? And then you see late in games where Corey Floyd's bringing the ball up the court with 15 seconds to go, and Kim English just waves off Corey Floyd and says, "Nope, do it yourself." Waves off the timeout. Obviously, albeit he said in the press conference he regretted it, but in real time, I'm literally ripping my hair out of my head, jumping up and down like a child in my living room, wondering like, why are you not calling a timeout, telling them to get over half court as soon as possible and draw up a play, because that's what you're paid to do.
Yeah, I think that in that scenario, I was thinking about this last night. I didn't sleep very well last night, but I almost feel like end of game situations, Kim is a little bit afraid to call a timeout and draw up a play in case it doesn't work, because I think he's a little bit afraid of the blame. I think he's a little afraid of the criticism. And we're not good out of a timeout. We're not good out of the locker room at halftime. We don't have a lot of great inbounds plays in our arsenal. I honestly, there was an inbounds play last night where Vox passed it to Oswin, and then he just flashed to the corner. Oswin dished it back to Vox, and Vox hit a three. And I was like, wow, that's a inbounds play that worked. I want to say that was one of like 45 inbounds plays that have worked. So, I think he's just a little timid in that regard. And it's just, now you're at a point where it's like, well, how can you have that? Genuinely, how can you have a coach afraid to call a timeout and draw up a play because he doesn't want to have it not succeed? It's a tough situation to be in.
If that's actually the case, we're in huge trouble. I pray to God it's not. But and then you go to attention to detail stuff, and not to knock on the guy, but when you're looking at the pick and rolls with Oswin up top, he's not really setting a pick. Stand and make sure the guy bumps into you so your player can get around you. That's the whole point of a pick and roll. He's just kind of going up there just to go up there, and then he's running back or he's leaning in. He's lucky he doesn't get called for more offensive fouls. He does a lot of the leaning and moving screens. That needs to be cleaned up. So I also think a lot of the attention to detail, if you do prepare going forward, it'll get better in increments if you do those little things right, and they're just not doing them.
Yeah.
And it sucks because I am starting to turn the corner a little bit to the idea of a Cole Hargrove just in Big East situations. And we haven't seen him for a second on the court the last two games, especially in spurts where Oswin is, to put it politely, underperforming. And it's just you can't mix things up here. We saw a couple Pinnis minutes early against Marquette. I weirdly also liked, seeing Pinnis out there. No Diddy, but he was communicating well. It was more of a fundamental big man, and I think Hargrove and Pinnis can provide that for you, just less athleticism and upside that Oswin brings you. But Oswin's lowlights are just painful to watch, man.
Definitely. And that's, one thing, not to praise Ed Cooley during Ed Cooley Hate Week, but if you remember when Cooley was kind of building this program back up and he was trying to develop a culture here, if someone was like a starter or, a top 7 rotation guy, and Ed Cooley's rotations were relatively small, but if they weren't rotating on defense, if they weren't, flashing on a screen, if they weren't moving the ball on offense and doing what they were supposed to do, whether they were scoring or not, then they were coming out and Lee Goldsboro was going in. Ted Bancroft was going in. So, you saw a little bit of that with Nil, right? Nilovan came in 2 games ago and gave us great minutes, made a difference against Creighton, got a nice rebound. He positionally was a good defender. Offense, he was in the right locations. You saw that last year with Ryan Mila, and Ryan Mila earned a starting spot because of that. When the offense was completely stagnant, they plugged in Mila, and, he made a huge difference in terms of moving the ball. This has to happen more. If Oswin isn't doing what he's supposed to do, you got to get Pinnis in there. It sends a message. It builds a culture. If you can't flash on a screen, then you got to come out, sit down. That's it.
Just jam a little Pinnis in there. That's all we ask.
That's all we got to do.
And can we also talk again about players just having career highs against us? Nigel James, this kid had 38 points. 38.
I will say that kid's for real. Nigel James is for real. He's not 38 points for real, but he's for real. But again, it's the trend of who's putting up their career high. I'm sure someone on Georgetown's team is going to put up a career high on Saturday. It's happened in double-digit games. I'm not sure the exact number, but it's had to have been double-digit games so far this year out of the 19 they've played, where someone's putting up a career high.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like Marquette also is one of those teams where, yeah, they have a lot of talent on paper, similar to us. Nigel James, Royce Parham, Chase Ross, Ben Gold. But, they've struggled to put it together. I don't know if maybe they're, struggling with some of the same. And they don't even have the whole transfer portal excuse, like hodgepodge of talent excuse. So, I don't really understand why they're so bad. But same kind of thing with us. Like, I don't really understand why we're so bad. I mean, you can't use the coaching thing with Marquette. I think Shaka's a really good coach. So very confusing loss all the way around last night.
Can we also talk about, I guess, kind of shifting gears a little bit, but staying with the Marquette game? The broadcast last night was terrible. That was the worst broadcast I've ever witnessed on Fox Sports 1. I've been watching Fox Sports 1. When did they sign the deal? 12, 13, 14 years ago?
Yeah, at least 2011, because they were on FS1 during when they won the Big East tournament.
Yeah, so that was 2014. So I think it was like 2013.
Yeah, 2014.
Yeah.
Was it with realignment maybe? But regardless, that was the score bug was off. The team's records at the bottom. Leb, you had a tweet about that. The first 6 to 8 minutes of the game, the score bug just went ghost. The commentators were like, "Oh, Jason Edwards didn't score last game." Oh, no shit, bud. That's because he didn't play. And then they had Jalen Sellers at the line, and they panned to him, and it just has Jason Edwards stats below him. Just
sad.
So it was painful. And obviously you parlay that with the Friars coughing up a lead late. It was just a very, very unenjoyable experience. I had to throw that in there because that broadcast was awful.
Oh, totally agree. Very, very fair. FS1 has a lot of issues, logistically. Some of the commentators are okay. You kind of live with it. I mean, it just last night, that's the other thing too, is last night we were the only game in the Big East who did someone play after? I think, did St. John's play after?
No, we were the only we were the only Big East game. We were one of the only big
Power 5 games
conference schools playing last night.
Yeah. So
only Power Conference game.
Yeah, I don't know what the problem was, but the Fox Sports deal was good at first. It's kind of, it's kind of lost a little bit of shine. Val needs to renegotiate a couple things for sure.
The Peacock broadcasts are solid, but I feel bad for people who have to get the app and then subscribe. It's there's probably a lot of people who aren't able to watch some of those games. Some of the older PC fans, they're just wait, what? Peacock? What is this? Fox Sports good. It's it's on cable, so you can flick it on.
Yeah. Flick it.
But, the money, all it is they don't care because they're going to get the money from these networks to put their games on. So, they don't really give a shit.
Yep. Correct. And that's the most frustrating part about college sports today, being a fan when you care so much and you don't have any money on the line. You just care and you just want to see a good product. But, private equity is involved. Large networks are involved. NIL is involved. You got revenue sharing. You got, some of these schools only care about attendance. And it's PC, maybe we need to make a little bit of a change, but the money's still coming in. We're still getting, 10, 11, 12,000 in the seats every night. Fan interest is still high, so let's see what we prioritize. Do we prioritize winning? Do we prioritize, money and revenue? Let's, we're going to find out this March.
I just wanted on the record, as a fan, I would hope they prefer winning.
Correct.
That's just kind of my 2 cents. I'm sure you guys would share the same sentiment.
Definitely. I would think so. That's the goal. However, it doesn't matter how you do it. We don't care. Doesn't need to be pretty. Under Ed Cooley, it was never pretty. And we can do so much better than how we did under Ed Cooley. And I hope everyone knows that. I will beat that drum, forever. But to do that, we have to get back to a point where we're, perennial NCAA tournament team. Whether that's going to be with Kim, whether that's going to be with a new coach, we don't know yet. It's not that it's too early to tell. We all have our opinions, but something, needs to change for us to get back there.
Something's got to give, right?
Something's got to
At
give.
some point for us. I mean, it's been a lot of disappointment. Green, granted, we made the tournament. How many years in a row do we make the tournament with Cooley?
I think he hit 5 in a row.
So I mean,
4.
You got. I mean, the fan base was in it, but you get the fan base really rocking and rolling here. So I feel like we have a buffer here for a few years, but you can't keep stringing together years like this because then we're in huge trouble. But the fan base is just really strong. People care so much about this team. So I still feel good about the program and the people who support it. And I'll always feel good about that. And we're lucky we have the fan base we have, because if not, that's when things could get ugly, when you really lose interest. But I know this fan base is going to stay strong.
Definitely. I agree.
The fan base isn't, knock on wood, not going anywhere. The NIL is competitive. Like there's certain things that you can fall back on and are true. It's when things aren't going right, what else is there's other factors into building a college basketball program. And I think, fan base and NIL absolutely nails.
Yep.
You got to look elsewhere to make a change.
And one thing that I feel like people are saying a lot is, the fan base might be a little fleeting, but Ed Cooley did not build this fan base. And, Mike can attest. Mac, you're a little bit younger, obviously. I think you started becoming a fan maybe like the last year of Keno, but
yeah, just about,
yeah. But the fan interest and the fan base has always been one of the strongest in college basketball. You can ask Rick Pitino, you can ask Pete Gillen, you can ask Rick Barnes, you can ask Ed Cooley, you can ask Kim English, right? The fan interest has always been good, and it's always going to be good because it's Rhode Island, and we don't have a pro sports team, although we root for New England teams, but we have a strong, deep emotional connection to this team, and this program. And Ed Cooley did not build the fan base. Now, did we add some fans? Absolutely. Sure. When we went to the Sweet 16, of course we added some fans, but ultimately this isn't a house of cards. It's not going to fall in 2 bad years.
No, and I remember going to games when Tim Welsh was coaching way back in the day, and they would still bang the place out. Mostly for the bigger teams that came in, like Syracuse and Georgetown. I will say some of the shittier teams that came in back in the day,
yeah,
we pack way more now in our non-conference shitbag games than before. Yeah. I remember going way back in the day, and it was pretty bad. But the fan base always, they're smart. When the good teams are coming in, well, especially with the old Big East back in the day, you saw some great players come through. Freaking Carmelo Anthony, Allen Iverson. That's the other thing. The Big East is always going to bring great talent here. People are always going to want to see that. And not to mention, look outside. The winters fucking suck here. We have nothing else. This is what we have in the winter. So no one's going anywhere.
Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio, I'm not fucking leaving. And we all know that. So let's just take a deep breath here. Let's try to get a win Saturday. Let's have some fun. We got each other here, okay? We know this sucks right now, but, you got to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. I know it sounds cliche and everyone's just like, shut up, dude, but that's really all we can do right now.
Insert the "We Are Blessed" Ed Cooley
Oh my God. All right.
Exactly it.
I think that's a great segue. That is a fantastic segue because what the hell was that quote?
Insane.
So funny.
Insane.
It's so funny. And this guy is just an endless. I've said this so many times, but he's an endless content machine. I mean, he's just got to be trolling at this point. You know,
Imagine
I was
that.
astonished.
You're a coach of a D1 team. Your season's going down the absolute shitter, and you're just like, dude, like they're starving people all over the world. Like basketball? Are you kidding me? This means nothing. Even though he's making however many millions, he goes, "This is nothing. Starving people. The world is a bad place."
The direct quote was Cooley said, "It's a lot worse happening right now than Georgetown losing a basketball game around the world, around our city, around our community. I'm not trying to deflect anything. Yeah, I'm sure about that, Ed. But my appreciation and gratitude to have an attempt to try and coach these young men to be better at what we do is an unbelievable honor. Yeah, we lost. We're this, we're that. But you know what we are? We're blessed. We're blessed to be 9-9. We're blessed to be 1-6 in the league." The article I found, literally the headline is Georgetown's Ed Cooley rightfully under fire after going full on loser in pathetic press conference. It's an article by Outkick.com.
It's everyone was all over that. Barstool, was all over that. This is the culmination of the Ed Cooley salesman. Like, this is the cherry on top. If he does lose his job and you put together a compilation of all the Ed Cooley, being a bullshitter moments, this will be at the very end of the video. Like, where it's what is this, the one shining moment? Like, if you put a one shining moment compilation of just Ed Cooley just spewing bullshit, that would be the end, and it would be glorious.
Can you imagine, like, your coach saying you're blessed to have a dog shit record? It's like, thank God we suck. Oh my God, we're so blessed.
Listen, I know, people feel the way they feel about Kim right now. Imagine he said that in a press conference.
Oh.
This fan base would be up in arms. And it's like the Georgetown fan base, I can't speak for them, but it's like for the better part of a decade now, you've been completely irrelevant. And it's just like you don't even expect enough to be like, dude, what the hell? Like, are you serious? Come on. Whereas in Providence, it's like if Kim English said that, I mean, we'd be, there would be a lot worse things said, I think, because of the expectations.
Yeah. This is actually, Kim and Ed are kind of interesting because they're similar but opposites. Like, I feel like they both have a little bit of an ego, but they handle it so differently. Whereas, like, Ed Cooley is a preacher, and he's like a lecturer, and he tries to, deflect and make himself bigger than what he actually is. And Kim, I don't know if it's like a defense mechanism with Kim, but Kim goes to like this scholarly, academia thing where he's like, I'm the smartest person in the room type thing. And I don't really necessarily doubt that he isn't. I mean, he's a smart guy and he knows so much about basketball. But that does not necessarily make you a great coach. There's just so much more to coaching than that. So it's weird. They kind of have their own, massive egos, but it's more just like how they deflect when times are bad. Very interesting.
I know this season hasn't gone well, but when you're kind of grasping for straws, just looking to feel something as a fan, this is a big weekend. At least I can say for myself. Some people are just kind of like, whatever, I'm checked out on the season. But this is a big game. I think this is always going to be a big game as long as Ed Cooley's at Georgetown. Leb, I know this is your first game back, post surgery. Like, this is something we should be looking forward to. Like, I think people need to be reminded how bad of a person Ed Cooley really is. Like what happened. Because we could be 0-19. I'm not going to say we're blessed, but like this is a big game regardless.
Well, absolutely.
You know what they say, the North remembers.
Yep.
And I think that's all there is to say. The North doesn't forget what you did, Ed. It's all right up here, bud. We can't wait to see you in our home, pal. Your former home.
And I think that, like with last year being year 2, and it was, the temperature obviously was still high, but going into the year 3, you would think that the temperature would kind of decrease a little bit. But now PC fans are just angry in general, and they're going to want to take it out on someone. And Ed Cooley is going to be in the proverbial crosshairs, not literally, right? But he's going to be in the the crosshairs, and it's going to be another very nasty environment, which I love. We thrive off of that. That's what we do.
Place going to be banged out, right? For sure.
Yeah,
has to be.
Because I was looking at hotels in Prov just to maybe stay over, and they were pretty expensive. And I was just like, I'm assuming that's because a lot of people are coming into town. Mm-hmm. But how do we feel the temperature of the building will be, seeing as what's happened this season and coming off probably your worst loss of the year?
I think it's going to be tense. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't going to be a little tense. Friars are 2-0 in these games, the fourth Saturday in January. But, I think we've learned you can beat anyone, you can lose to anyone. And if in the chance that the Friars do lose this game, you're kind of worried about what's on the other side of it as far as a fan reaction. But I don't know. It may be a little tense, but like Leb said, you got to let the anger out on someone.
Do you think it lost juice after Monday night?
I think that, I think that the season is almost unfixable at this point. So for the people that maybe don't care that much about, the rivalry at this point, and Ed Cooley, and maybe have kind of just been like, all right, whatever, it's year 3. I do think there'll be less juice for the on-court implications, because by and large, this is a last place, this is a last place battle. And so in that case, sure. But I think the hate for Ed Cooley is still there and always will be, for sure.
Yeah.
It's weird because, buddy of mine had basically mentioned who's close to someone on the team and was basically like, the players don't really have much stake in something like this.
Yeah.
This roster doesn't give a shit. I can't imagine.
So that's the thing. I guess Corey Floyd, who was there under Cooley, but it's like going into St. John's, half the team didn't even know who Bryce Hopkins was. They didn't know the situation. You know what I mean? So for them to get up for, last place team in the Big East, it's a little tough. And, every year that goes by, you kind of get more and more separated from it. But that's where I think the crowd comes into play in something like that. They'll know. Exactly. A guy like Duncan Powell, a guy like Jalen Seller, Jameer Jones, they feed off the crowd. And, it's one of those things. You might not realize the implications of the game you're about to play in until the ball's tipped.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe not the whole team will care about it, but I was just thinking about how Jones was talking trash about Hopkins in the post-game presser, and he wasn't here last year. He didn't know him, and he got fired up for that. So maybe I'm partly wrong there. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm sure English is telling them how important this is to the fan base and how rowdy it's going to be. So I'm sure they'll understand.
With the Hopkins thing, those guys, I think they feel a little more rivalry to their peers. Jameer Jones isn't really going to care about Ed Cooley. You know, like, I think that it's probably a little bit of a combination of both. Some guys are going to feel the juice from the crowd. Some guys, probably won't give a shit. It's just going to be another home game. I will say this, though. This will be the best environment of the season, and none of these players have seen it like this yet. I mean, URI was pretty good. Obviously, I wasn't
Dude,
there.
UConn was fucking insanity.
Yeah.
It's such a fucking sucks they didn't win that game. That was I wish you were there, Leb. I wish you could have felt that because it was crazy in there, man.
Yeah.
I like I said, I do think it's one of those things where they're going to realize the weight of the game once they step on the court. Like once layup lines start, the students are lubed up. They're screaming from behind the hoop. Like they'll start to kind of understand and process what time it is. It's a last place game in the Big East, but it's genuinely a top 10 environment, I think, in the sport the last 2 years. So like Jameer Jones, Stephon Vox, if for some reason you're listening to this friggin' podcast before Saturday, take note of this environment, man. This is genuinely hard to come by. But yeah, you just hope once the fuck Ed Cooley chants start coming in, like these guys will realize like, oh shit, this game actually means a lot to these people.
Definitely. This is always a big game. People have to remember the perspective. You have to remember what Ed Cooley did and quitting on the team midseason, especially now. Like we wake up every morning as Friar friends and just pray that we are able to get to watch our team play in an NCAA tournament game. And for the head coach to quit before that point, when something like that should be so special. I remember 2014 against North Carolina, like being like, I waited for that moment for 10 years. There was a 10-year gap between NCAA tournament berths. And that was such a special moment. There are so many Friar fans that those moments are so special for. And Ed Cooley just completely quit on the team before that game. And also the league. Val Ackerman, Nasty Val, did absolutely nothing. And also wanted it to happen. In my honest opinion, the resurrection of Georgetown has always been this thing that people have in the Big East, right? If you work for the league, you've always wanted to see it. It's a sleeping giant of a market, DC, whatever. Sure. But they wanted that to happen. And if the roles were reversed, they would have never let that happen. They would have sat down with Ed and said, not a good idea. We want you to stay at Georgetown, whatever. So everyone was working against the Friars and Friar fans at that point. So you can't forget. You got to remember. And you got to be loud and you got to be annoying. And it's fuck Ed Cooley.
If Georgetown's a sleeping giant, Ed Cooley's fucking melatonin.
They're still asleep.
Yeah.
And they're
blessed. Just such a if they are blessed. It was just such a bizarre move. I remember hearing rumblings leading up to it because clearly stuff was getting out. And it was some stuff got out like earlier in the season too about Georgetown. And everyone was just like, yeah, no fucking way. Like, you kidding me? And then it got louder and louder and louder. And I still was in denial. And I'm like, there is no way this guy is going to leave Providence where he grew up. He is building the program back up. We're going to the tournament every year. You're building. I thought there was going to be where Dave Gavitt and Joe Mulaney are out in front of Wayne. I thought there was going to be an Ed Cooley statue out there too. I go, this guy's going to be here forever. This is a match made in heaven. And when that news came out that he was going to Georgetown, I don't ever remember being so floored by a sports story in my life. Like, as far as my fandom goes, I was so caught off guard. I know the whole entire fan base was caught off guard. And to go into your own conference, what a fucked up move. Just crazy. And also ballsy. He knew what he was going to have to face when he came in here, and he's faced the music. I'll give him that. But still, I'm still in shock that it all happened. And you know, here he is coming into town again. It's crazy.
And he's coming in, he's coming back as a failure. I mean,
Right.
by all stretches, he has absolutely failed. And it hasn't been a good result for either program. Like we both lost. And the Big East lost as a result. Providence, although we're not a big, huge market, the fan base is by and large one of the best fan bases in the league. And PC was kind of like in that top 3, top 4 category, of the league at that point. Villanova was kind of going through a change with Jay Wright retiring. Obviously UConn was struggling a little bit at the time, but they were on their way back. And it would have been PC and UConn like at the top. Imagine that. Like how good would that have been for the Big East to have, your two blue chip programs being, 35 minutes away from each other. That would have been so awesome for the two fan bases. What a rivalry that would have created. But nope.
Yeah. And obviously, the rumors and everything that circulated when Ed left, but like you kind of do look at it on paper.
What are the rumors?
And like what are the rumors? You look at it 3 years removed, and it's still like, what was the thought process? Like, yeah, you can point to maybe they threw him more money. I still think PC would have matched. Oh, well, he wanted to follow in the footsteps of John Thompson. Well, Ed, I hate to be that guy, but like, you want to follow in the footsteps of John Thompson, but you've won all of 10 conference games in 3 years. You're not really, you're not doing too great in that department. So it's like, I don't know, man. It's such a lapse in judgment. And Mike, like you said, match made in heaven. Why would you leave a perfect situation?
We all know why he left. And, I love John Fanta. I think he's a phenomenal guy. He's jolly. He's great for the league. But the water carrying, right, that happened at first when Ed left, and the media justifying the move by saying, well, he got a significant increase in salary, which came out only like maybe 5-6 months ago, that he literally is making less at Georgetown or almost like the same. Like it was like, I think he's making like 4.2 at Georgetown that he was at PC. So, PC, we had him at like 4 point whatever, and whatever Georgetown would have paid him, we would have easily matched. So Ed Cooley took the same amount of money to go to a program that was in complete shambles. And, away from his hometown. For what? Right? For what? That's where the questions come in. And some people say it's because he looks up to John Thompson. Bullshit. Why? Because Ed Cooley ripped his pants in the Big East tournament and put a towel around his waist, and now he's fucking John Thompson with the Gatorade towel. No, that's not the case at all. We know why he left. And if you don't know why he left, then you should watch the documentary. And if you need the link, we'll happily send it to you.
I was gonna say, I was gonna kind of reference the documentary. I was watching it earlier, and by the way, I'm watching the documentary every single night this week. It's like watching Christmas movies before Christmas. I'm watching it over and over again all week. But in Cooley's introductory press conference at Georgetown, I don't want to make this claim, but I think this is what happened. Is he referenced a conversation he had with Big John, who was like, I think that PC had a game at Capital One Arena, and he would go talk to Big John, and he's like, John Thompson told me one day, we had a conversation, he said, you're going to be coaching in this building one day. And then Ed was like, oh, really? What job am I getting? And who's going to tell him he's wrong? Rest in peace, John Thompson.
Yeah.
But like, who's gonna fact check him on that? Like just bullshit, sleazy sales. Like again, that might be messed up to say, but come on, man.
And then there was that picture of him after, in one of the gyms, and he told all the other coaches to come and meet him, and he was going to talk to him like he was this almighty coach. Let me get the soccer and lacrosse and field hockey. Let me tell him what the athletics is all about. These coaches have probably been here for years. Or like, buddy, you just got here. Why am I listening to you? Like, and you're the basketball coach. What does this have to do with field hockey?
Yeah.
You're the head coach of the least competitive program at your school.
Take a hike, dude.
Yeah. And mind you, this guy who had been to one Sweet 16 and won one, regular season Big East title, and don't get me wrong, we're grateful for all of it, is preaching to these coaches who probably have had way more success in their fields than Ed Cooley has. And it's so funny. Like, dude, Ed Cooley, year three, Ed Cooley needed a heroic performance from Bryce Cotton and a Carson DeRozier's and one to get to the tournament, right? So, we're in year 3 of Kim English, and I'm not making excuses for Kim. But the difference between the fan base then and the fan base now is when we were at that point, I remember Bryce Cotton, senior night against Marquette, and we were like on the wrong side of the bubble, like pretty far out of the bubble. I just remember thinking like, wow, this is awesome. Like, I'm so glad that we're here. And we were still on the wrong side of the bubble. And then we ended up getting in via, the Big East tournament. But now it's just so different than what it was then. So it's just, I don't know. I don't know why he left. I'll never understand why he left. Well, I can't really say that. We know why he left. But, officially, just foolish.
Speaking of why Ed Cooley left, Mike, I know you mentioned hotels earlier. Have you looked at the Omni at all?
No.
They might be giving out some deals for Cooley Week.
It also would have been interesting if the Pats were hosting the AFC Championship game and the visiting team is staying at the Omni the day of the PC Georgetown game.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That would be quite interesting. If
honestly, not to talk Pats on a PC podcast, I think the players are happy they're not playing at home. It's going to be Brick-a-loadian on Sunday here.
That's awesome. Brick-a-loadian.
It is going to be so brick. I'm actually, to take a trip down memory lane, I'm looking at Cooley's first roster ever here.
Oh, boy.
And, I mean, looking at it, it's a pretty solid roster. Can you guys name some of the people here?
Yeah, Gerard Coleman. Bryce
is on here because it's 2011, 2012, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Kadeem Batts.
Yeah.
Ed Cooley's first team.
That was his first team, right? 11,
I think
12?
he took the job in 2011, so 11, 12 would have been his first season.
Yeah.
Gerard Coleman was on that team.
I'm not seeing. He's not on this roster.
What?
This is on the school's website.
Okay. Vincent Council.
Yep. Council.
Lee Goldsboro, just mentioned.
Yep. Lee, straight out of Newcastle, England.
Yep. Yeah. One of the few UK players in the Big East that we've had.
Yep.
I know Henton was his first recruit, but was that his freshman year or was that
Henton? Yep. Henton was on this team. You said Batts, right?
Yep. He said, Max said Batts. Bilal Dixon.
I'm not seeing Dixon. Is this like a not complete roster here? Because I don't see Dixon on here either. Let me see.
What's the number of bodies?
Brees Kofani.
Yep.
Kiwi Gardner.
Yeah, Kiwi was a bust. He was a mixtape demon.
Ted Bancroft. Chris Carter. Mike Murray. Walk-ons. I don't remember those guys.
Yeah. Here, are you on Sports Reference? You're on the website?
I'm on the Providence Athletics website.
All right, let's see what this.
Yeah, because I think there's some people.
Yeah, we got Vincent Council, Bryce Cotton, LaDante Henton, Gerard Coleman, Bilal Dixon, Kadeem Batts, Brees Kafani, Ron Ruthless Riz Jiplay, Lee Goldsboro, and then those 3 walk-ons that you mentioned, and then Teddy B.
Yeah.
White Lightning.
Solid roster.
Yeah, G. Cole was honestly like one of the highest recruits that we've had in years. Like he was kind of a
Top
bust,
100.
but yeah, he was, I was super excited about him. And then, Bryce, he had a little bit of a, breakout year that year. Which I didn't realize. I didn't realize he was that good. I thought he played a little less. Vincent Council, great numbers,
Yeah. I loved Vinny Council, man.
This year really paved the way for Henton, though, to be a really good player. Because honestly,
Yeah.
when Henton came in, he really didn't have a business playing that much as a freshman. But Ed Cooley got one recruit, and it was him. It's like, honestly, almost the same exact thing that happened with Kim and Rich Barron, It's all like when Rich was like, I was like, this is another kind of Henton scenario. But, yeah, with Henton, he really, he developed so much that year and then became such a great Friar.
Yeah.
It's funny. Not funny, but like the Rich Barron situation. Not like the masses are asking this question, but like I've had people just like in conversation mention it to me, like at like a bar or something. People are like still asking, like, "Oh, is Rich Barron going to redshirt?" Like it's about to be February. Like I would imagine.
Yeah,
I would imagine he's not going to waste a full year of eligibility at this point.
Yeah, they can't be saving him for anything at this point. It would just be malpractice, anyways, to do it at 9 and 10.
Save the eligibility.
Yeah, save the eligibility, and I'd love to see Rich get another shot. Whether it's here or whether it's somewhere else. I never thought he was a bad basketball player. I thought he has some, he has some notable holes in his game, but I'd love to see him get another shot.
He's a very good, I think, Big East role player. And
Yeah.
I think one of the issues with this year's team is you have too many guys that want to be the guy.
Yeah.
And I think, when building a roster, like you can't really do that in basketball. Like obviously St. John's has kind of started to figure it out. But like you look at a team like St. John's, and we talked about it at the beginning of the year, like there's so many mouths to feed on that team. Like it could easily go south. At the time of recording, they're 6-1 in conference, so they're obviously starting to figure it out. But you can't just throw stars everywhere. You need role players, and I think Rich Barron's a great Big East role player.
Yeah, I think assessing the guys that you want and going after them hard, and not like being like, oh well, this guy fell into our lap, so we got to take this guy. This guy fell into our lap, so we got to take this guy. One thing that I will say, although they are probably the worst team in the Big East, is with Georgetown's roster construction that they had, over the offseason, I thought the roster was relatively weak. I always thought it was, and I didn't think they had that much talent. But I will say I felt like they assessed, the type of players that they wanted to get, and they went after them, and they identified them. I mean, they whiffed on Sellers. They really wanted Sellers. And then they whiffed on Powell. Two guys ended up going to PC. But if they had gotten Sellers and you had, Mac, KJ Lewis, and Jalen Sellers, honestly, that would be a really great 3-guard, set that Ed Cooley would probably do really well with, because Sellers is kind of like that Big East tough, strong Ed Cooley type player. With Duncan Powell, I don't know how he would have fit. But yeah, assess who you need, assess who you want, and go after them.
Yeah, Mac and KJ are a good duo.
Yeah.
Sorry,
talking about roster construction, think about that, if this roster stays and Kim's here and you have a bunch of these wings, if you really hone in on getting a really good ball handler, a really good point guard, and then another good big, you might be able to kind of flip the script. I think you're really lacking a point guard and you're lacking big man depth. That's not taking away from the fact of the defensive woes this year, a historically bad defense. So a lot needs to happen there, but I wonder what that would do to this team if you kept the core, but you added a point guard and another big.
Agreed. Even a point guard. Just give me like a true point guard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially if you want to play the fast style offense. Like you could probably get away with a small ball lineup if you had a floor general to kind of lead things. But yeah, I think it's tough to. I mean, I guess it's not tough to compete in games with a bunch of guys who want to be the guy and can be the guy, but it makes for proper ethical basketball when you have guys with distinguished roles. And I think that's another thing that this team just lacks.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. All right, what else we got on Ed Cooley?
Bad guy.
Looking at the people who he added the year after, I didn't realize Kadeem Batts was from Boston. I totally forgot about that. And then he came out in that second year. You add Chris Dunn, and you also added, who I didn't realize this, Siddiqui Johnson was a top 100 player.
Yeah, Arizona. He went to Arizona.
That.
Yeah, he went to Arizona. When we got him, I was like, oh wow, we got Gerard Coleman the year before. We added Siddiqui Johnson. We got Chris Dunn. We got Rick Leo. It was bliss. I was like, we're getting talent that we've never gotten before.
Right.
And it's odd how people misremember, because that was some of the best accruing of talent that any coach has ever done here. And we,
right.
There's the famous quote, nobody does less with more than Ed Cooley. And that, I think, does ring true, because Ed Cooley is really good at getting talent. Maybe in the NIL era, his, salesman shtick doesn't land as effectively, because really it's just about money nowadays. Like, who can write the biggest check. But he was nails on the recruiting trail. Then he kind of lost a little bit of a step. After the AJ Reeves and David Duke class, we never really had that, like really good class again.
And you're right, because he's a preacher first.
Right.
Like, he's a great talker. And I remember his opening press conference, and I was ready to run through a wall. And what did he say? He goes, I'm not walking home, like I'm sprinting. Or something like that. Like, he knows how to fire you up, and you best believe he was using those tactics going into the living room with some of these kids to recruit some of this talent when he first got here, because it was like he didn't have any resume like for these kids. He's just like, yeah, I coached at BC, I was at UMass Dartmouth and Stonehill. It's like, wait, what are you talking about, dude? But he had a way with words. But it's been a blessing and a curse for this guy, because it's worked to get the fan bases fired up, to get players, but then he just word vomits and just says stupid shit, and then people are able to hold it against him forever, i.e. we're blessed to have his shitbag record. Like, so that's been the story of this guy his whole career.
I feel like he always just tries to like quote farm, like the "don't dream on my dream" thing. Like, you knew when that was leaving his mouth, he's like, oh yeah, this is a fucking bar. Don't dream on my dream.
He was better off just if he had so many issues here and he couldn't be here anymore, he was better off just going to work at Fox. Like, the guy, whenever they had him on TV, he was pretty solid. He would have been better off being a TV personality. I mean, he didn't see it coming with, how bad he's been at Georgetown, but trust me, if this doesn't work out, he'll probably get a coaching job somewhere. But I also wouldn't surprise me if you see this guy wind up in TV in the next few years.
At this point, I wouldn't mind to see him in TV. Like, I think as a PC fan, I think a lot of PC fans would feel vindicated watching his coaching career crash and burn after making a terrible decision to leave Providence. And then if he goes on to do TV, cool, man. Like, so be it. Go do your thing. You're a great talker.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's the way I feel about it.
No, I think that's a very fair and honest take. I mean, he has always been a talker first. I mean, going back to when he got, Rakeem Sanders, shout out, Pawtucket, Rhode Island, to
St. Andrews, no?
I think, yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, hold on.
Sorry, I'll look it up. You can continue.
No, it's okay. I got it right here, I think. It doesn't show his high school. So, yeah, you can look it up. But he got Rakeem Sanders to transfer from Boston College to Fairfield, right? When Rakeem was doing great at Boston College. He had no issues. He got Rakeem Sanders transferred from Boston College to Fairfield after Ed got the Fairfield job. And then Ed left for PC before Akeem Sanders could ever play for Ed Cooley at Fairfield. So scumbag move, obviously, that's not what I'm talking about, though. But he's always been good at that, And the TV thing, I think he would be good at TV, but I think just he's so hated now. And it's not just here. I mean, the guy is just kind of like a joke everywhere, It goes back to every Big East team besides Georgetown. Actually, I can't even say that now because Georgetown fans are out on him. Every Big East team clowns on Ed Cooley. Every fan base thinks he's a complete joke. He's had so many incidences. He had the Seton Hall incident where I'm rich as shit. He had the Xavier thing last year where he got in that guy's face, season ticket holder. He had, the water bottle thing against Xavier. And there's plenty of other instances, but I just don't think he's liked enough for television.
For the sake of continuing your laundry list of examples, because this is Ed Cooley Hate Week, I'll just bring up a couple more that come to mind. Illinois is a bullshit school.
Yep.
The Rutgers student reporter don't be afraid to ask a real question. Is it like this shit is real?
Yep.
What else? Don't dream of my dream we talked about earlier. There's genuinely a laundry list of just like crash out moments from Ed Cooley.
I really think that we should try to maybe put together a little compilation, and
I agree.
And also, like, I feel like there's some times where we could maybe have Ed contradicting himself. Like, you could play you could put the Rutgers, like, this shit is real, thing, and then follow it up with, there's way bigger things happening in the world.
Yeah, right. Completely contradicting himself.
Yeah. Don't dream on my dream, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then
I'm rich as shit. There are people starving.
Yeah. Illinois is a bullshit school. Fucking water bottle. Boom.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too, is when you talk like that, when you see people who talk a lot and know how to talk, oftentimes they'll end up contradicting themselves eventually.
Of course.
And I'm sure there's a million examples of Ed Cooley saying like, basketball is my life. This is everything to me. And then it's just like, well, it's not actually that deep. There's people dying. So like, it's actually not that serious.
No, the quote where he was, it was before the NCAA tournament in 2023. And they had the camera crew following him around in his car. And he's like, I listen to One Shining Moment every morning. This is my song. And he's like, I dream that I'm going to be up there with that national championship trophy. And then you cut. There's just more important things in basketball. I mean, you guys, what are you guys talking about? Like,
what?
I did go back. I saw a clip from his introductory press conference, but he's literally speaking like a politician, and he's just like, an Iron Eagle's going to be interviewing me when we win a national championship. Just like such a just almost no hate on theater kids, but how like sometimes that stereotype, it's like you try to make things overly dramatic for like dramatic effect.
Yeah.
He's like, Iron Eagle's going to be interviewing me when we win a national championship. It's like, all right, Ed, cut the shit. I get you want to motivate people, but let's focus on finishing over 500.
He also promised us a national championship in his introductory press conference, and we weren't even close. So, and I'm not. That was never really the goal. Like winning a national championship, unbelievable. I would.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would crumble. I would just obliterate. But that's not really the goal here. The goal is to win a couple games in the NCAA tournament, win a Big East tournament every now and then. He's. Well, what did he say? The quote that Mike was talking about. I'm not running from Fairfield. I'm sprinting home.
Yeah. It's kind of a bar, honestly.
No, it's good. But then he used it. He uses the same quotes over and over again.
I know. He got me red-handed. Fuck.
Yeah. No, listen.
He lost his fastball.
no one ever said he's not an entertainer. He's not a talker. He's not good at that. It's
Oh, he
just
had me fooled.
Yeah.
He had me fooled because I was it hurt as a fan, man. The one word is just betrayed. Like, you care so much and you never thought that something like that would happen, and then it does, and you're just shocked. It was just like, whoa. Like, when I first heard the news, I didn't even know what to think. And then you start thinking about the future and you're like, well, who's next? I was like, I don't have any clue. I'm not looking up coaches. I wasn't prepared for this shit. Like, and I can't sit here and say that I really knew much about Kim before he got in here either. So it was a crazy time. Thank God for Devin Carter that year. He was fucking unbelievable.
Superman.
And yeah, it's just really, really unfortunate how all this went down.
You mentioned not knowing a lot about Kim, like, at the time. I've kind of gone back because, like, I just like to go back and kind of like put myself in the shoes of like where I was when all this was going down. Like I'll just go back and watch like live reactions to, Kim English being hired, Ed Cooley leaving, Ed Cooley taking the Georgetown job. Like, at the time, like, I know there's been some, blame pie handed out. I think that's the phrase, for like hiring Kim, who's a guy with 2 years of A10 experience and this, that, and the third. Like, it's a young coach. But at the time, like, if you go back, a lot of the talking heads were saying Kim English, like, it wasn't like some like terrible hire out of left field. It was like a lot of the talking heads were like, he's a young and up and coming coach, NBA experience. So just a unique perspective. If anyone gets some time, definitely go back and watch some clips of just talking heads talking about the hire. Another thing about the talking heads, this time 3 years ago, and we've kind of touched on it a little bit, was everyone was saying in 2023, give Ed Cooley 3 years and he'll turn this thing around. Like, I want everyone to like truly like conceptualize that, because if this season goes south, I think we won the divorce. Like, genuinely, without a doubt, the whole Kim stuff could not work out. I think we won the divorce because everyone was saying, oh, well, Cooley took a better job. Just give him 3 years and he'll figure it out. And that couldn't be further from the case.
Definitely. And we also have to remember that Ed Cooley is really kind of like the first hire for Georgetown that has no ties to Georgetown. If you look at their last last 5 coaches, right? You go John Thompson, right? 1972 to 1999. Then you had, I don't remember this guy at all, Craig Esherick, but he was an assistant under John Thompson since 1979. He was a grad assistant in 1979, and then he was an assistant for 17 years before he took the job, the head coaching job. Right. And then they went to JT3, John Thompson's son, after that. Then they went to Patrick Ewing, their greatest ever player. And now they have Ed Cooley, this complete outsider who's not from the DMV. He has no ties to Georgetown. He didn't go there. He didn't play basketball there. He didn't play in the NBA. He didn't play against Patrick Ewing. He didn't even know who Patrick Ewing was, when he got the fucking job. So this guy is on a short leash. And I think that, like, people need to realize that he's probably gone after this year. Unless, I don't foresee Georgetown ever having financial issues in a buyout situation. But he's probably gone after this year if they don't demonstrate some sort of basketball competence. So, we'll see. This is a big game. We could send Ed Cooley on his way.
Boston College or TV.
Yeah.
Those are his future in my brain.
I like the BC thing. That could be interesting. He always loved BC. He always talked about it like it was his dream job. He always talked about Al Skinner, So, who knows? It could be fun.
Poor Al Skinner. I don't understand how he didn't pick up another big job after that. He
Yeah, I don't know.
he
How
was
old was he?
solid at BC.
No, he was
Yeah.
very good. I mean, he
Let's see, where did he go after that?
Well,
He's
side
at
note,
Bryant.
Side note, while Mike's looking that up, Raheem Sanders did go to St. Andrews. I forgot I had that tab open.
gotcha. Nice.
He was at after BC. He was at BC from 97 to 2010, and of course, Cooley was one of his assistants at BC. Then it was looking like he had 3-year hiatus, and then he was with Bryant as an assistant from 13 to 15, and then he was the head coach at Kennesaw State from 15 to 19.
Yeah,
and he hasn't coached since.
I didn't realize that he coached Kennesaw State. I'm seeing that right now, 2015 to 2019. Yeah.
Yep.
2-time Big East Coach of the Year, Big East Tournament champion. Atlantic 10 Coach of the Year. He he deserved a little bit better. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the reason was for Boston College moving on. I
couldn't have possibly been any more of a rival for us either. He coached at URI from 88 to 97.
Yeah.
I mean, he was there for a while. He went in 92, 93, took URI to the tournament. And 96, 97, he took URI to the tournament. And then he went 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 times with BC. Jesus.
Yeah.
1, 2, 7 times with BC.
Yeah, they had some great players, I mean, Ed Cooley talks about all those players all the time. He talks about Jared Dudley like he's a son, No,
I always forget he went to BC.
Yeah. Yeah. Ed Cooley recruited him, I believe. Ed Cooley recruited a lot of those guys. He was Al's number one recruiter. That was his job.
Talker.
Guy can just talk like a son of a bitch. I mean,
all right, Leb. So we talked about the doc earlier. Obviously, the namesake of this show. What's obviously 2 years removed from the doc? What's it like? I guess seeing people kind of still want to watch it, still resonating with it. What's tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, after it came out, right after it came out, I mean, it was insane. Going to the games. I mean, everyone just coming up to me nonstop, completely nonstop, and it felt awesome. I'm not a egotistical person. I really I'm very self-deprecating. I'm very honest. I don't have this massive ego, but I think that being treated like that in a situation where these are people that you like, and it's a program that you've put so much time and energy into your entire life, and just getting treated like that was really fun. Honestly, it was cool. And now the brand has kind of shifted to we're kind of like a media personality now. It's a little bit different. And it's awesome. It's cool. I'm glad that, I have a voice and we have a voice in this community, and, we talk about the team for fun, and people listen to us and people come to our live show. That's awesome. And it's all because of, that documentary, and it's all because of, just kind of seizing the opportunity, right? That's really what it's about. The documentary really changed things for me, as a person that just used to talk about PC to maybe 50 to 60 people that would look at my tweets to, now thousands of people. And that's really special for sure.
I remember watching it, and because it's just burner central. There really aren't that many, faces you can put to names other than,
Right.
your Kevin McNamara's of the world, your, any, media personality within the Providence space. And then I'm watching it, and they were interviewing you about PC, and I was just like, who the fuck is this kid? This kid, first I was like, this kid's awesome and he's fucking funny. But I was like, where the hell did he come from? Because I had no idea who you were at the time. And I was like, this kid's awesome. So how did they get in touch with you? How did they find you? Was it Twitter? And yeah, tell me about that, because I remember watching it and I was like, this kid's awesome.
Yeah, it was Blue Demon Degenerate. We had always been friendly on Twitter. We were in a group chat together,
right.
we were in a group chat where so when Ed Cooley left PC for Georgetown, I kind of went on like a little bit of a Twitter rampage, and I was just kind of trolling like a lot of the Georgetown accounts. And one thing I noticed about the Georgetown fans very, very quickly is that they're very, very sensitive. And the Ed Cooley is Hitler moniker, right, was a thing that I used because they would get so upset about it, and they would like call me disgusting, and they would like post my employer and whatnot. And I honestly just thought it was funny. Like I was moving at a different speed back then, and I was like just kind of like this carefree, like I was just like I was just kind of on demon time, and they just got so upset, and I just kept going and going and going and going. And Blue Demon absolutely loved it. Like we have this very similar sense of humor where it's like, this is so outrageous, and it's getting so many of the Georgetown fans upset that it's like so hilarious because it is so outrageous. Like there are no comparisons between Ed Cooley and Hitler, right? We all know that. Like no one thinks it's a serious thing, but they took it so seriously and got so upset. And then when that was the spring when he first left, and then we were in a group chat, and he asked me like a couple of weeks before. It was like a couple of weeks before Christmas. He had asked me, but he had already done a lot of the interviews for PC. But you had a lot of people that kind of just were a little more like on the timid side. They were kind of afraid to say what they like really felt. Like if you watch the documentary, I think Mac probably watched it today. Like you have, that older guy Ralph who was saying like, don't throw beers at Ed Cooley, and like don't give him too much shit, whatever. And you had like a current student who she couldn't say like all that much. I mean, she's at the university. And you had a faculty member, she couldn't say all that much. She was she works for the university. It's like, so then you have just this fucking guy who doesn't give a shit, and that's where I come in. So my role was more to just kind of let it fly. And then we just had some fun. It was just a conversation, and he's a great guy. Love that guy. He ended up getting an opportunity, offered an opportunity at Barstool, and then they kind of ghosted him. Yeah, which sucked. He would have made, like the rest of the documentary. So like you would have made like 10 more for the rest of the, the conference, which would have been so cool, but they kind of just ghosted him. So, yeah, that's how it came to be.
Two thoughts. One, that would have been awesome if, Barstool didn't ghost Blue Demon Degenerate, because I think there's a lack of Big East representation with that company. Obviously, you have like your Jack Max and Jeff Delos who are like UConn guys, and like Frank the Tank's a Seton Hall guy, but like other than that, it's really nothing.
Sure.
Also, you kind of mentioned the people in the doc. I feel like with the demographic of like people on Twitter, which is where the documentary was like probably primarily advertised. You had, I understand you grab people from all walks of life in the PC community. You get a student, an older, longtime season ticket holder, a staffer at the school, an employee of the school.
Local degenerate.
And then like local degenerate, it's like, all right, well, this is perfect for the people on Twitter. And it's just like, it was just like teed up for you to literally basically you to let it fly. Yeah.
I mean? And actually one of the more level-headed takes that I saw was from a Georgetown fan on one of the message boards when the documentary first came out. And he was talking about my appearance in the documentary. And he said that it honestly just kind of fit really well. Like it showed the temperature of the fan base and the local fan at the time. And even though, my words were just outlandish and insane, it did kind of fit the, like, this is how ridiculous PC Twitter is. So and I'm not trying to make it deeper than what it is. I literally I got home from work one day and was like, oh fuck, I got to do this interview. Totally forgot about it. And I just called Ed Cooley Hitler like I had done 100 times since, March of 2023. And I didn't think twice about it, and then the documentary came out. And when the documentary came out, obviously I got thousands of, well, I got like 1,500 Twitter followers, like almost in the matter of a week. But I also got a lot of people that, like messaged me and were like, this is where you work. Like, I'm going to contact your employer. Like, I was selling Medicare at the time. I was a sales manager for a Medicare firm. And people were like, I got a couple messages from some Georgetown fans being like, who's going to help all these old people when Ed Cooley sues you? And like, people saying like, oh, like the Cooley family's going to sue you. Like, just all this crazy shit. That was kind of scary at the time, but it didn't have any implication or any effect on my job at all.
I cannot express how excited I am for Saturday.
Yeah.
Just the obviously lost season, but fuck, man. Like, I can speak for myself. I'm due for a day where you just get piss drunk, the drinks start flowing at like bright and early, like with the sun. You come up with the sun and just scream your ass off. I really hope, a lot of the fan base feels that way. Leb, I know with your situation, you're probably not exactly going to be slamming beers in the morning. And then Mike, I'm sure you'll be lubed up a little bit.
Oh yeah, I gotta figure out what me and the Podfather are doing. I don't know if he wants to get in there early or not. If he wants to, get activated later after the game. So I gotta have a conversation with Storm because I don't know what I should do because I want to get in there early, but I don't want to drive separately than him. And him, he always drives my ass around when I go meet him in Taunton. So I might have to take that ride, honestly.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, the spot for the Georgetown game has always been, Murphy's. I love just that day. You get in there nice and early. I'm not going to be doing that this year, but I'll be there next year. But Murphy's is a great spot for that game. It's just the vibes, and it's just the anger. So, are you guys more excited about this one, or are you more excited about the Bryce Hopkins coming back?
I think I'm like pretty even on both.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I also think St. John's is really going to want to get revenge when we beat them at our place, at their place. But no, I feel the same about both. Both I felt like we got wronged. Obviously, the Cooley stuff is a lot worse, but I don't know. I hate being this guy. I'm getting up for it and I'm getting excited. It just sucks that this season has gone the way it has because it's taking some of the excitement out of it for me. I'm going to be completely honest. I'm still very excited, but it feels a little bit different.
I totally agree.
I think is it like are you looking forward to March? Like as a fan, there are very few things you can look forward to. I'm so beyond fired up for Georgetown and St. John's at the Dunk. However, I think the Big East schedule makers got it wrong, scheduling St. John's away first, because we kind of already got that look at Bryce Hopkins. I think the place is going to be electric on Valentine's Day, but Leb, I think you've said it in episode before. This is like my Super Bowl. Friars could be undefeated. This is the biggest game of the year for me. I freaking love the Ed Cooley homecoming. There's so much hatred and history behind it. But could be singing a different tune if we hadn't already played St. John's, and I'm just like chomping at the bit, like bring them to me.
I think an underrated storyline too with this weekend is this is like the team on the losing end is so buried, like so buried that whereas like before it was like, we need this game, especially year one. I mean, year one was everything. Devin Carter, windmill, that was awesome. And we were like, we need this game, to maintain good standing for the NCAA tournament. This year, both programs are going to be like, we need this game for like our jobs, like Kim and Ed. So like, I think there's a little bit of juice there that like the loser is going to be in a really bad situation. The winner probably not going to be like any different, but the loser to look really, really bad.
Yeah, a PC loss it's going to send some shockwaves, especially after what happened on Monday. And you lose this like you said, this is everybody's Super Bowl. It's going to make everyone feel some type of way if you can't win this game on Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think and again, I don't even want to think about that possibility. But if the Friars don't win, like the pitchforks are going to be out in full force. Like the noise is going to be high, unfortunately.
I do fear.
Yeah. Can't disagree with that.
If you drop 2 in a row to, Marquette Monday and then like DePaul Saturday, whatever, I just think this game being, holding the weight that it does, it's just going to be amplified so much.
Just fucking win. Just win the fucking game. You could put the ball in the basket. Please play some defense, guys. Please. Just a little bit. Just a little
bit. You're home. You're a better team than Georgetown. There's no reason not to win. You just got to play a little defense. That's it.
You took one of the best teams in the country to the wire. You should have beat UConn. You should have beat them.
Yep. You beat St. John's on the road.
Georgetown. You beat St. John's on the road. Clearly, they're playing down to their competition. I don't know why, but if getting up for a game is what's going to get them going, then I think we're good.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're good. What's the spread on this game? Does anybody know?
I don't think there's a line yet. I haven't seen a line yet. I got a line. I got a line guy in our group, one of our group chats. That's like right when it comes out. I think he's got notifications. He's a degenerate. Shout out, Carl.
Looks like Torvik has PC as 7-point favorites going into Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it.
And Georgetown's going to be on short rest. I think they have Villanova Wednesday.
I could see it. I'm talking myself more and more into a blowout now that I'm thinking about it. Thinking about how they played against UConn at home when that place was buzzing. Yeah. And I think they're going to understand once they step on that floor and see how packed and loud the place is. Yeah.
The players will follow the crowd. They might not have this deep emotional connection to this game. Jason Edwards has literally told us to our face that he didn't know who the fuck Ed Cooley was, which is hilarious to me. But he has told us that, and I don't think that's very different. Duncan Powell will have a little bit of personal, juice because he committed there. And Jalen Sellers was heavily recruited by them this offseason. So, some players are going to have a little juice naturally, but the rest are going to feed off the crowd. It's going to be awesome.
And Duncan Powell, by the way, a.k.a. Corner Man, he's showing why. He's finally getting shots from the frickin' corner. We talked about this before the season. His frickin' chart, it was redder than a fucking chili pepper from the corner. What else is red? Redder than blood. I don't know, but get the guy the ball in the corner.
Yeah.
Have it run one play for him in the corner. I mean, this is a guy who calls himself the corner man. And
oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the Creighton game. He finally got a look in the corner, hit one, and then he hit a couple against Marquette. It's like you would think, like you said, for a guy that calls himself the corner man, you'd think you'd get him some looks in the corner. I feel like all season his looks have really been from like that elbow wing area.
Yes.
And it's like just get the ball to him like 3 steps that way.
Yeah.
And he's in the corner. Let him get hot.
If Edwards plays, I think you win by 12.
Yeah, you
I
should.
I don't know how severe the plantar fasciitis is.
That's the thing. Like, I know, Edwards has gotten a lot of criticism from the fan base, but he's a guy that can score in bunches. And when you're going up against Mac and Lewis, KJ Lewis is a good defender. Malik Mack is not an unbelievable defender by any means, but he does play hard, and I'd love to see Edwards in there. Take some pressure off of Vox and Sellers at the guard position.
He's still leading the conference in scoring.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's always fuck Ed Cooley. It's
Well
always
said.
going to be fuck Ed Cooley. And you just got to win.
Well said.
Just win. As Brockton's own Al Davis said, just win, baby.
Al Davis is from Brockton?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yep. At least he was born there. I know that.
Creepy little fuck, that guy. Weird little fucker. with
Yeah, he
that
was
hair.
born in Brockton on. Well, that's his son.
Oh, that's Mark. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Al Davis is respected. You're totally right. I'm sorry.
Born on the 4th of July, 1929, Brockton, Mass.
Son's a weird little fucker.
Yeah, he does look odd.
He's got like the little bowl cut, right? Is that it?
Yeah,
Is that what
he's
it
got
is?
like the baby bangs. Like,
Yeah.
crazy,
Ridiculous.
dude.
He looks
Dyed
ridiculous.
bleach blonde baby bangs. Like, two worst combinations ever. Like, to dye your hair bleach blonde and then do like these bangs. Like, what are we doing?
Pretty bad.
Weird little fucker.
Before we get off, I want to mention the shout out to Crier and BOC. They're hosting a live show Friday night at Black Sheep the night before the game. Mike?
Potentially. I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
It's kind of a pain for me to get back and forth from Quincy. So I got that's why I was looking at hotels.
Okay.
Because I was going to say, fuck it, I'll stay over. But I was just like, eh.
Yeah.
So I'm a game time decision right now. But shout out to Crier and BOC. Legends in the space. They do a great job. So shout out to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think their goal is to get a bunch of people from, the PC media space involved with the live show. So if you're listening to this and you got no plans Friday night, come out, get in the holiday spirit, and have a little fun at Black Sheep.
Yeah, I great idea. I love the idea. I wish I could attend, but if we do it again, in the late winter or, whatever, next year, then I'll definitely be there. Do feel a little bad for Crier right now. He's getting a lot of shit. He was kind of like the last man standing for being like super pro Kim. I think he's kind of like backed off a little bit, but yeah, he's definitely taking his lumps for sure.
But hey, if you guys aren't doing anything Friday night, anyone listening, let's have a beer or 2 or 12.
There you go.
Let's get in the holiday spirit. Actually, I might have to be up early Saturday.
I was going to say, I could see that going the wrong way for me. And the next thing I know, I'm feeling like shit going to the game. Nothing worse.
Yeah. I gotta be well behaved, Mike. Especially if you're not there, dude. Like I'm representing DPP. Like
I know.
I can't be getting belligerently drunk. And
I know you gotta be at your best behavior.
I know. I gotta be well behaved. Maybe
Shout
one or
out
2
to
beers.
Shepherd, the Black Shepherd.
Oh, is that
That's
the
where it
nickname
is,
for
right?
Black Sheep?
That's where it is, right? Black Sheep.
Yeah, Black Sheep. Yeah.
I've never heard it called the Shepherd.
I'm just a goofy guy.
Yeah.
Just so
Silly.
quirky.
Very silly.
Anything else we got?
Fuck Ed Cooley.
Yeah, fuck Ed Cooley. Just win the game. Win the basketball game on Saturday. We're not like I said, we don't ask for much here. Just a couple wins and just win this one.
Yep. Win this one and I'll be happy. I won't be miserable.
Yep.
I'll be content. I'll be content.
And security, please don't touch me.
Yeah, keep your hands off Leb. Hold on, time out. Before I feel like we're kind of winded down here, but like
Okay.
Leb is not a threat.
Non-threat.
He's gonna be on the wood later. Saturday afternoon, he's gonna be on the wood. He is not a threat.
Good guy.
Just
local guy.
Keep your hands off him.
Complete non-threat. Always been a non-threat. Might talk a little shit here and there, But everybody knows, and Larry Lepore knows it too, because the guy does his due diligence. I mean, he knows every cop in the entire state. So don't be coming at me like I'm a threat, okay? Because everybody knows I'm not a threat. All right.
Good guy, local guy.
Thank you.
Local.
Hopefully we can get him up on the jumbo. He can get a wave.
That'd be electric. That would be divine providence.
That would be cool. I will say that.
Look, if you get on the jumbo, can we get a little?
I'll do
yes?
it. If they put me up there, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah.
Hell
When
yeah.
I'm like the past few games I've been walking around, like people like they won't even say like hi Mike. They'll be like, hey, like when's Lev coming back? I'm like soon.
Yep, that is true.
People are just concerned about their health, and that's one thing about this community and this fan base is people have shown genuine care and empathy toward my situation, which I'm so grateful for, because it's nice to know that people care about you when you're at your lowest point. So shout out to all the great fans that we have in this fan base.
Yep.
Yeah, I think game aside, I think you're going to get a warm welcome on Saturday, and no glaze, but you deserve it. So
yeah,
thank you, Kings. Thank you, Kings.
Yep.
All right, let's end it there. No more glaze. Go Friars. Let's win a basketball game, and fuck Ed Cooley.
Fuck Ed Cooley.
Fuck it, Cooley. Go Friars.